I'm Beck and this is Greg Dovan, one of our senior project consultants at Greenline. Today we're going to be talking to Greg about comparing quotes for more of an apples for apples type of approach. So Greg, I've had to make many decisions in the past on quotes, but they're generally things that I have experience with, like buying a car, for example, where I know the purchase process and I also know what the outcome is meant to be. With a shade structure, it's not something that very many people will have purchased. So what would be your advice about where to get started on getting a quote?
Yeah, 100%. So firstly, even before contacting a company, we'd recommend that you look at the work they've done, make sure that it's something similar to what you're expecting, and it's for a similar client in a similar industry. And then generally a good design and construct company in the industry we're in there would come out to site, actually meet you, have a look at the site, what you're trying to achieve, and even look at alternatives beyond what you thought might do the job, and make sure that you're actually angling towards the right project outcome.
Yes, well the outcome is what we're aiming at. So once you have a couple of contractors in mind, where to next?
So it's often difficult at this point when you've got all the quotes back on the table in front of you and there's going to be one or two situations. You either have all the quotes are similar, and therefore it's going to be hard to choose, or all the quotes are widely varying, in which case it's hard to understand why that is the case. So it's a matter of being able to understand what they are. So it's not simply a price-based decision, because we've all been there and we all understand that lowest price doesn't necessarily equal the best outcome. In fact, often the opposite. Yes.
With making these decisions, often they can be quite hard because there are problems that occur, and you don't want to be responsible for those things, I guess. So what sort of problems can occur by choosing the wrong company?
In our industry, examples of some situation that could unfold would be such as site management. Are they actually running the site according to what's happening around? Is it interrupting other operations? Are they maintaining safety standards, or is there behaviours going on which are going to put staff and students at risk? And potentially even the contractor themselves could be at risk depending on what they're doing. So another point would be quality issues. Is it just simply trying to get things done too cheaply if the price is too low? Is there timing issues? Is it dragging on and affecting events or lessons that are planning to use that space? Is there cost overruns because not everything's been included that should have been originally, therefore that's in later?
That's a massive consideration.
Exactly. And just simply, is there service? Are you able to contact them and get updates and feedback when you need to actually find out what's happening? Okay,
so with that in mind, how do you get your decision right when choosing the company that you want to work with?
Sure, so we've put together a guide which will help look through all the offers and cut to the bone as to what it actually is and what you're going to be getting, how it's going to be delivered for the nominated project amount. So it's a matter of cutting through and finding out examples of what they've done. You need to find out maybe where the 3 closest projects they've done. Contacting those customers, finding out what that experience was, going and visiting the site by all means if you get the opportunity to.
So back to the guide that you spoke about, can you tell us about that?
Sure, so it's pretty simple. It's like marking papers and pretty much comparing them, putting them in order and creating criteria which lets you assess on not just price, even though it's important, but other things such as design innovation, safety performance, professionalism. So maybe we look at those now.
Okay, all right, fantastic.
So with things such as insurances, that should be a pass or fail item. If the company doesn't have the right insurances, that should be a knockout. So they're not under further consideration at all because it's too big a risk. Relevant experience, we suggest 20% consideration to that. Have they completed similar projects in this industry on these sites? Have you been able to inspect them, talk to those people and find out how the project actually went, and make sure that you're happy personally with the quality that's been delivered? Understanding of your needs would be, suggest 10%. So that's actually, have they talked and asked questions to be able to understand what you're trying to achieve? That way they can then tailor their response to make sure they're meeting the outcomes you're looking for. Have they been able to actually show creativity and problem solving skills? We suggest another 10% for this item. So is it the same solution to put for someone else that they're just trying to shoehorn onto your site because it's so simple? Or are they actually responding to your unique brief and site and adapting the solution to fit it?
So you actually get the outcome that you're looking for.
That's right. The response that they've put back, is it simply a handwritten or an email or one-liner, or is it actually a full presentation outlining that they understand what you're looking to achieve and they've been able to come up with a solution which you can see has delivered on those points.
Yep, they've actually responded to the brief that you've put out.
Exactly, yep. So then pricing, we suggest it's a big thing, but it's not everything.
Yes.
So we've given it 50% consideration.
Yep.
So you'd be looking at what they have included within the pricing, what they have excluded from the pricing, and being clear on that. Are there other prices that you need to factor in at this point before you know the complete picture of the project or the ongoing maintenance costs? Are there any conditions to the pricing which mean that it is or isn't going to be valid under certain circumstances? Are they factored in latent conditions on site? In civil works, if they hit rock, how is that being considered?
Okay, yeah.
Have they included footings, that sort of thing?
So on the other 4 percentages that aren't price, how do you mark on those percentages?
Sure, so that's more of a benchmarking style system where you'd take all the offers that are on the table, pick the one that for any given category, pick the offer you feel best meets that criteria and give that 100%, and the others then fall in afterwards in order of what you feel they've delivered on it. And if in a situation that you don't feel any of them have delivered on the full outcome, then slide them all down accordingly. Okay,
so the pricing section, the 50%.
Yep.
How do you work that section out?
There's a formula we found that considers this. Before you get into looking at the numbers and comparing numbers, you need to make sure that you've definitely got an apples for apples as far as the scope that's being delivered.
Yes.
All the way through is every contractor putting forward the same scope. Things such as temporary fencing, maybe services location or below ground plumbing.
Yeah.
Just basic site management things. Have they been factored in? Because someone will need to do it to make sure it's a safe process.
Yes.
And you need to be sure that everything's the same before you can start comparing pricing.
Okay. Is there a way that you can actually work out what their percentage is of that 50%?
Yes, there is, and this formula we found from the Queensland Government suggests a way to do that.
Okay.
And it looks at the overall picture of all the prices that have come back and compares them individually to the median pricing. So effectively what it does is it means the highest price after it's been scored ends up with the lowest score and vice versa.
Okay.
And that's considered against all those other criteria as well to give the final score.
Okay, and I'm imagining that's part of the article that you can find on the Greenline site.
Exactly. Yep.
So people can actually look that up and work out their scores. So also, are you guys happy to, I guess, work with schools or companies to help them come up with a brief and also look at those responses?
Yeah, absolutely. And we often do that for schools that are looking for somewhere to help them through that process, whether it be developing the initial tender briefing, so just scoping out the project, or even in the tender review criteria assessment, making sure that they understand what is included in the submission that's come back.
Yeah.
And ultimately it's all about making sure the submission is delivering on the outcome, working within any constraints on the site, such as budget or the site constraints themselves.
Okay, fantastic. Well, thank you for chatting with us today. If you would like to know more about this topic or another topic, please head along to the Greenline website at www.greenline.com.au, or you can call the office on 1800 044 200 and chat to Greg or another one of the project consultants. Thanks again.